5 ways to say no gracefully and still feel empowered. Have you ever said yes to something you didn't really want to do, just to keep the peace, avoid guilt, or because you felt like you had to? Maybe it was a family favor, a last-minute babysitting request, or a friend needing a ride across town, again. And afterward, you sat there wondering, why did I agree to that? A part of you wanted to help, sure. But another part, your energy, your peace of mind, paid the price. You're not alone. Saying no doesn't come easy, especially when you've spent most of your life being the dependable one. The caretaker. The glue that holds everything together. But here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Just because you've always said yes, doesn't mean you always should. Not anymore. At this stage of life, every yes you give should come from a full heart, not a drained spirit. You've earned the right to protect your time, your space, and your peace, without guilt. And yes, you can say no with grace and still feel strong, kind, and deeply respected. Let's talk about how. The first shift starts inside. It begins with the quiet confidence to value your own needs as much as anyone else's. That sounds simple, but for many of us, it's a major mindset change. We were raised to believe that putting others first is a virtue, and often it is. But when putting others first leaves you last every time, something's off balance. Imagine this, your neighbor stops by unannounced and asks if you can help her clean out her garage this weekend. You've got plans to rest, catch up on your reading, maybe take a walk by the lake. But the guilt creeps in. She's older. She's asked nicely. She might not have anyone else. Before you say yes, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, do I truly want to do this, or do I feel obligated? That small pause creates space to check in with your heart before your mouth responds. It sounds so simple, but it can change everything. Now here's the powerful part, you can say no, and still be kind. Try this, I'd love to help another time, but I have other plans this weekend. Or, I'm not available, but I hope it goes smoothly for you. No apologies. No over-explaining. Just a gentle boundary wrapped in respect. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's self-honoring. It's like tending to your own garden. If you spend all your time watering everyone else's, your own begins to wilt. Saying no when you need to isn't closing the door, it's making sure your door doesn't fall off the hinges from overuse. Another moment I hear often goes something like this, your grown children ask for a favor. Maybe it's watching the grandkids for a few days, or lending money for the 3rd time this year. You love them. Of course you want to help. But something inside you hesitates. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe your finances are tighter than they realize. Maybe you just want a week without feeling pulled in 5 directions. And yet, the word no catches in your throat like it's made of thorns. This is where grace comes in. Grace doesn't mean you sacrifice yourself. It means you communicate with warmth, clarity, and honesty. You might say, I wish I could help, but I'm not in a place to do that right now. Or, I need to take care of myself this week, so I'll have to pass. Do you see how powerful that is? You're not shutting down love. You're simply showing up for yourself, too. When you say no with kindness, people may not always cheer. Some may even push back. But over time, they will respect the clarity. And more importantly, you will start to respect yourself more deeply. Your peace matters. Your time matters. Your body, your energy, your joy, they all matter. The next time someone asks you to stretch yourself thin for their comfort, remember this, it is not your job to make everyone else comfortable at the cost of your own well-being. Your job now is to live fully, truthfully, and freely. And that sometimes means saying, no, thank you. Not in anger. Not in fear. But in strength. With grace. And without guilt. There's something incredibly freeing about realizing you don't have to be everything to everyone anymore. That kind of pressure, it weighs heavy. Especially when you've spent decades filling the roles of parent, partner, provider, peacemaker. But now Now is your time to breathe, to choose, to reclaim your voice without apology. And that brings us to a subtle but important truth. Saying no doesn't mean shutting people out. It means showing up more honestly. Let's take an example many of us can relate to. You are invited to an event. Maybe it's a birthday party, a family barbecue, or even a church function. You're feeling tired that week. Or maybe crowds have started to make you anxious. Still, you wonder, will they be disappointed if I don't go? Will they think I'm rude or ungrateful? So you start crafting a long explanation in your head, full of reasons and maybe even a made-up excuse or two. But here's another way. A more empowered way. You can simply say, I appreciate the invitation, but I'll have to pass this time. That's it. Simple. Direct. Kind. You don't need to pile on reasons or prove you're justified. Your choice is reason enough. When we stop over-explaining, we start healing. We stop performing for approval and start living with authenticity. It's okay if not everyone understands. What matters is that you begin to understand yourself more deeply. And let's be real, some people may push back when you start saying no. Especially if they've grown used to your automatic yes. That's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of the expectations you've carried for too long. It takes strength to say no with grace. To hold your ground without anger. To let someone else feel disappointed without rushing to fix it. That's emotional courage. And you've earned it. Sometimes, the hardest people to say no to are the ones we love the most. Our children. Our lifelong friends. Our siblings. You might worry they'll think you don't care. But I promise you, real love, mature love, understands boundaries. It may not feel comfortable at first, but it's honest. And honesty builds deeper respect over time. Let's say your friend wants to talk on the phone every day. You enjoy her company, but you found that daily chats drain you. You'd rather speak once or twice a week and have more meaningful conversations. You don't have to ghost her or pretend you're busy every time. You can be direct and still be loving. Something like, I cherish our talks, but I've been feeling a little overwhelmed lately. I'd love to catch up a few times a week instead of every day, so I can stay balanced. That's not rejection. That's real connection with healthy limits. You may be surprised how people respond. Some may be taken aback. Others may feel relieved, because maybe they've been feeling the same way and didn't know how to say it. And here's something powerful. When you model graceful boundaries, you give others permission to do the same. You become an example of someone who lives with clarity, with purpose, with quiet strength. There's no shame in choosing peace over pressure. There's no guilt in needing rest. And there's certainly no weakness in saying no with love. In fact, it's one of the bravest things you can do, especially in a world that still tells us we should always be available, always giving, always saying yes. But the truth is, your value was never tied to how much you could give away. Your worth was never measured by how much of yourself you could sacrifice. Now is the time to reclaim your boundaries, and in doing so, reclaim your joy. And with each no that honors your truth, you make more room for the yes that really matter. Yes to your health. Yes to your peace. Yes to your passions. Yes to the life you still get to shape on your own terms. There's a quiet kind of power that grows in you when you begin honoring your limits. It's not loud. It doesn't shout. But it shows up in how you carry yourself. In the ease of your breath. In the way your shoulders finally relax. In the steadiness of your voice when you say, no, that doesn't work for me. And here's the beautiful twist most people never expect. When you learn to say no with grace, you don't just protect your own peace, you also deepen your relationships. Because when you speak your truth, people can finally see the real you. Not the version that always complies. Not the version that hides behind smiles and silent resentment. But the version that chooses honesty over obligation. Clarity over confusion. Love over resentment. Think about it. How many times have you said yes, and then felt drained, frustrated, or even angry afterward? That's not generosity, that's self-abandonment. And over time, it chips away at your joy. But when your yes is real, when it comes from a place of choice, not pressure, it becomes a gift. Pure. Full. Unburdened. That's the life you deserve now. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to make people comfortable by shrinking your truth. And you certainly don't need to apologize for having needs, preferences, or boundaries. Your presence is enough. Your no can be kind, warm, and loving, and still be a no. You might say, I know you were hoping I'd help, but I'm not able to this time. Or, that's not something I can take on right now. Or simply, I need to say no today, and I hope you understand. And if they don't, that's okay, too. The discomfort doesn't mean your boundary was wrong. It just means they're adjusting. Give them time. Stay steady. You've spent your whole life giving so much to others. But now, the question is, what are you willing to give to yourself? Because when you choose yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a soul-honoring way, you become more present, more joyful, more alive. You start saying yes to what truly matters. Time with people who lift you up. Moments of quiet that restore your spirit. Activities that bring laughter back into your day. Rest that heals your bones. Space that lets you breathe. There's nothing more powerful than a person who knows their worth and no longer seeks permission to honor it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be endlessly available. You just need to be real. And real people say no sometimes. Real people set boundaries. Real people choose peace over pressure. And you, my friend, you've more than earned that right. So the next time someone asks something of you, take a moment. Check in with yourself. Breathe. And remember this, you are allowed to pause. You are allowed to decline. You are allowed to protect your time, your body, your spirit. And you can do it all with grace. If this message touched something inside you, if it reminded you of your strength, or helped you feel less alone, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what resonated with you. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more gentle reminders that your voice matters, your life still holds purpose, and that it's never too late to live with intention. Here's to living with strength, clarity, and compassion. Here's to honoring your truth and walking into each day with your head held high. Here's to saying no when you need to, so your yes can be full of light. You've got this. And you're never too old to start again, stronger than ever.